There's a problem facing all of us, and it's that there's two types of prisons. One is the prison that you can visibly see. You can see and feel those bars, and you understand and know that you're in prison. But the second kind of prison is the prison that we can't see. It's the prison of the mind, the prison of the body. We're stuck in our fears and living within limitations. So today I want to talk to you about living unlimited. And to be unlimited means that we first need to understand what limitations are. So L, I have an acronym for you, and L stands for letting go of limiting beliefs. I believe that so many of us carry these stories that are stuck points and don't allow us to express ourselves fully and completely. Like I remember years ago having the limitations that I could only make a certain amount of money. It was like this belief that I had, probably created around what my parents had made or had been shown to me. And then one day going to an experience where I had a product to offer to other people and going way beyond the limitation that I'd placed in my mind at that time. And it shattered my belief. And so there's so many of these beliefs that we carry, these limitations that we carry. But if we can understand these, we can go into ourselves and see those stories for what they are, literally just stories. Like, where do those limitations actually exist? Like, point to it right now. Where does it exist? Literally right here in our mind, that is it. Which means it's not necessarily a reality. So understand your own limitations that are holding you back from expressing yourself more fully and completely into the world. So that's the L. The I stands for intention. I believe we have to carry an intention into every experience that we have. Like if you think about it, say you're going out with some friends on a Saturday night and you have an intention to play, to connect, to laugh, to dance, to move. That's probably what you're gonna find in your experience that evening. So are you carrying intention into your life? Like literally, are you thinking about, I'm here in January, right? And so I'm framing up my next year. What is my intention for the year? So if I frame it up just like I talked about on a Saturday night, if I frame up my intentions for that year, I believe that is what I'm gonna get out of my experience. So understand and have an intention for your life. M stands for mastery. I believe that we have to learn how to turn pro. A phrase that I heard years ago that I really enjoy says, amateurs work out and pros train. Are you training like a pro? Do you understand what mastery actually is? I believe that so many of us carry this belief that like success is easy. It should happen right away. If that's what you're doing, you're gonna end up looking like a dog chasing its tail, meaning a lot of effort, a lot of desire, but you're not actually going anywhere. Because you'll hit a friction point or a stuck point and you'll stop doing the thing. And so we have to understand that mastery takes years, like quite literally 10,000 hours, which equates to right around 10 years of doing something. So understand and allow yourself to be a master. Years ago when there was samurais, they obviously learned the art of like combative, fighting with their swords, but they were also encouraged to understand mastery of other things. So they would master like art or music or play or dance or singing, because they would all evolve and make them better at what they were actually doing, which was the sword fighting. So express yourself. Like I'm always challenging myself in those areas. I'm always trying to work on my voice, and I'm not a singer, but I'll try to sing. I'll try to use my voice and express myself because it helps me just express myself in life. Or I'll go out dancing and try some new dancing techniques that put me in my body and help me stretch myself. We have to embrace what I call the white belt journey. Oftentimes in life, we find ourselves as the black belt. We get very good at something, but then it feels very uncomfortable to do something new. That's the white belt journey. So we have to allow ourselves to try these new things. That's how we stretch and expand and grow through life. So understand the concept of mastery, keep pushing yourself and challenging yourself, and watch what comes out on the other side of that journey. The next I stands for intuition. I believe that we have to go through a healing process. So many of us carry these like deep-seated trauma and wounds. Hand is up, carried many of those, still working through a lot of them, going back through childhood and then things that happened in my adult years. And I just carry these like stuck points. What happens when we experience like these traumatic events? You can think of trauma as anything or any situation that was too much for you in the moment. Like something today that you might experience, maybe not a big deal, but when you were 7, 8, 9, 10, it was too much for you in that moment. And so what happens in these situations is we disconnect our head from our body, meaning that like our head wants to take over, our brain wants to take over to protect us. But the reality is the brain is stuck in the future and it's trying to predict the present moment out of the past. So where's the presence in that? So by becoming intuitive, we feel into our intuitive present state. So we get there by doing two things. One is release work. So like I like to use a lot of breath work. That's one of the services that I work with people on. Because breath work is very powerful, and it's your body's own medicine cabinet, meaning like your body's own intuition. It can pull it right out of you. And you see these things that you need to work on or let go of or change, and it helps you become more intuitive. And also, like presence work. Presence work can be things like cold plunging that puts you in the present moment, where you have to relax and connect to your breath and keep calming down. You can't fight a cold plunge. You have to release and relax, working your release muscles in life. Oftentimes when we're in our head, we're trying to control the situation, and you'll feel it in your body. You'll tense up, you're trying to fight, your mind will get tight, your jaws will lock up. Like previously I had a lot of success, and I didn't even enjoy it because I wasn't in the present moment. I was always grinding my teeth at night. I had no presence, and it was exhausting. But now as I'm growing and doing these different things, I'm always trying to remember to stay in the present moment and just flow, just have fun. So remember to connect to your intuition by working on these deep states of release and presence work. This T stands for together. We're in this journey together, meaning we have to connect. Oftentimes, when we're going through challenging stuff in life, we disconnect from other people. We like isolate ourselves. Again, hand is raised, been there. And I remember always thinking like, no one wants to hear my shit, like, you know, and this very victim mentality. Like, I literally remember thinking, no one else has been through what I've been through. They can't understand me. And just think about that energy. Like, it pushes people away. And so I became very isolated. And I remember thinking like, I have friends, but no one's really actually that close to me. I wouldn't let them beyond a certain level. I got so much anxiety that I actually was stuck in my house. I had so much anxiety that I was afraid to come outside of my house for years. And then realizing finally I have to go into myself and work through this energy. And I started to unpack my anxiety and realized that I had been carrying anxiety for years, for who knows how long. And so I started to unpack that, started to connect with other people, and now my tribe, that togetherness is one of my greatest things that I'm just so grateful for, because that fills us up. It's the love that we share and we connect together. So we're in this journey together. Connect with other people as much as you can. And lastly, the S is the stories that we tell ourselves. In my coaching business, one of the things that I'm always doing is when I hear people talk, I hear them talking, but what I'm doing is I'm looking for what they're actually saying. We all tell ourselves stories. So someone might share something like, you know, X, Y, and Z has happened, but that's just, you know, just kind of how I am. And when they say that statement, that's just how I am, it's usually matching a pattern or a story that they tell themselves. The story might be, I'm not lovable, I'm too much, you know, I'm not enough. These are all like common stories that people tell themselves. Is that the reality? And again, where does that story exist? Point to it. Like literally point to it. It's nowhere to be found except for right here in our minds. And so what I would encourage you to do when you find those stories is just catch them. Notice when you're doing that and what you're saying to yourself, because those stories will dictate your reality. That's the important point. They will dictate your reality. So if you want to change your reality, you have to see those shitty stories that you're telling yourself and reframe them. And so say you have a moment where you're like, I'm not enough. Well, let's look at that in reality. Is that 100% true? Has that always been the case? For something to be a fact, it has to be 100% true. So I guarantee you it's not a fact. I mean, it's not actually true. So I would ask you, have there been points in your life where you were enough, where you did do well, where you were accepted by other people, where you showed consistency and durability and perseverance and humor and expression? Of course there were. So what I want you to do is only look at those as your focus point. Anytime those shitty stories come in, reframe it and remind yourself of when you were successful, and that changes your story pattern. So that's what it means to live without limits. And I want to finish with this little story. When you look at life, I want you to think of it like this. I was fortunate enough to meet this young man one day, and he shared a story with me. And the story was, he was going through chemotherapy, and unfortunately, he didn't make it out. And he shared this story, and it was this. Life is like hitting golf balls at the golf course. You get this big bucket of balls, and when you first start out, you just start whacking the balls, and you're whacking away. You've got so many of them. You just keep whacking those balls, hitting them as far as you can. Some sell off, some sell this way. But then later on, you realize there's not that many left. And you look in your bucket, and you select each ball carefully, you set it down, you focus in, you zone in on your shot, and you hit the ball as far as you can and as accurately as you can. Because you realize that there's not that much and nothing is guaranteed to you. And that is just like life. So narrow your focus, zero in, because nothing is promised to you. The time is right now and we need you. So step into the life, live without limits, and I'll be waiting to connect with you. I love you so much. I make these videos for you. So if you can do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, peace.